We're talking gentrification. Oh, what's up, Molly?
Hey, what's going on?
You want to get on this?
Yeah!
On another episode of Ask Pop Joey C.
Nice.
On the wrong side. Get me on that side. My shit is all messed up. So at least you get my good side. You know what I'm saying?
Knowledge, thank you for joining me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
We're talking gentrification. It could be a dirty, dirty word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that G word, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, a lot of developers, investors don't understand it. They don't get it. They think it's something that people throw in their faces when they're trying to improve a community. But oftentimes, it's a bigger and greater impact on people. A lot of people, not just people who are buying houses or buying developments or occupying commercial shopping centers, but the entire community at large. Give me some perspective on what you see the problem.
So, first off, I like to say that gentrification is definitely a real thing, but it doesn't happen as fast as people are assuming. Like, neighborhood change takes place first, is what I've observed, and that's when you have migration periods to another place based off of public safety, bad schools, this and the third. So I don't want to live in this neighborhood anymore because I want to go to a better place, right? But when you have the switch of economic classes from a neighborhood out, it makes it seem like it is gentrification, or if it's like a race change. But what I realize is that gentrification is not race-based. It is actually economically based. So it's when the rents go up a little higher or a lot higher. But it's not just when a coffee shop comes in, when new amenities come in, when the neighborhood's becoming better, or when they're building on vacant lots. That doesn't indicate gentrification. It just indicates neighborhood change.
And then when the change happens, what we see is a lot of times, because the problem with gentrification is money, and money motivates a lot of things that happen. And then there's certain factions that come in and dominate areas, and then they can govern that change as they see fit. And if that fit isn't the fit that everyone sees, it can be real problematic and create divisions in classes, in between races, between factions, between community groups, between neighbors, and then that's when the real problem heats up. So, I mean, what do we see some solutions? Because we're all solution-based when we're talking about gentrification.
Right.
We're not waving a flag here saying, woe is me, woe is you, woe is them.
Yeah.
But we're saying, what can we be doing better as citizens, as humans, as developers, as investors, as professionals, to make sure that no one feels the negative side of gentrification, but we can all feel the impact of revitalization and helping out communities get those services that everyone wants. No one doesn't want a coffee shop.
Right.
No one doesn't want health care.
Right.
People want to shop. So it's not necessarily those things coming in, but what can we be doing to keep those good, positive changes without totally displacing an entire group?
Well, to me, I think it's like cultural change that takes place, right? So just because you have mixed income or mixed income community doesn't mean that one culture is going to dominate. So what I find is happening within this neighborhood change, or gentrification as they call it, or that it's becoming, is that culture will come in and they'll assume that people will come in and they'll assume that there wasn't a culture there before. So it becomes like almost like imperialism of sorts, like this belongs to us, this is our neighborhood, but versus meshing with the culture that existed before. Similar to like developing in a neighborhood where you have a whole bunch of vacant lots, you want to create a landscape that's similar to the houses that were there before. You don't want to just build these brand new places with these old places, you know. So I think developers, if had the money, could invest in the houses that are already there, invest in programs that would encourage home ownership, you know, education into community groups about financial literacy, because that's what combats this, is when you do have people that are from the neighborhood who learn how to invest in the neighborhood or learn how to own in the neighborhood, or they're giving something to protect the value of their homes already, you know what I mean? So they're not priced out by taxes, or their business is not, you know, priced out. I mean,
so you're saying knowledge is power. But that is the truth. Knowledge is power, and education can help combat this. And when you look at certain areas all around our country, overseas, London and New York, Miami, and all these cities that have experienced this, it was large scale, multiple or single developers who come in and truly dominate an area or dominate a neighborhood, and then they truly control what the landscape looks like, versus multiple different investors and developers communicating and controlling that landscape in a huge group, a democracy.
Right.
We live in a democracy, but developments oftentimes are not a democracy, because one developer will control. So we think that if we educate people how to invest, how to grow a business, how to be financially literate, how to see changes coming to their community in a both positive and negative light, and then communicate as a group to make those changes, real change can happen.
Yeah. At least you slow the process down, or you empower some of the people who are in those neighborhoods now, right? Like where we're at up in Allentown, we're able to like have some impact because we're educating people, or we're empowering people, or we're providing services to protect the businesses that exist on the main street. And I think that that's a good model for stopping just large companies from just coming and just buying and increasing the rent because they own the building or something like that.
The power is in the people or the person who is making these changes. We oftentimes want to say, hey, politician, how can you help us? But should we be relying on these politicians solely, or is it kind of our responsibility to make sure that we are doing our part, whether we're just a person who owns a house in that community, a developer, a business owner, whatever it is. Maybe you just drink coffee in the community.
Yeah.
But what are you doing to impact this change? Not just talking about it, but taking action.
Right. Yep. I agree with you 100%. Another point that I think is important is community groups. Like this is Larmer where we're at right now. It's often called East Liberty, but this is actually Larmer, which is very flat land. They just received a $30 million HUD grant maybe 2 years ago, and a lot of people in this community were poor or are poor, So it's like, but the community group came together to ensure that development happened a certain type of way. The community has a voice when they stick together, or when we stick together. But if you don't have a community group, it's difficult to combat developers coming in to do bad deals, or just come and take advantage of the opportunity due to vacancy in your neighborhood and low cost of land and housing. So I think that that's another way to not just stop gentrification per se, but to direct and determine the way the neighborhood's going to change. At least it's in the image of the community.
And they say a rising tide lifts all ships, but if people don't have a ship, then that tide is going to drown.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure that our community has the resources available to build that ship. It might be a small ship, but they can grow and they can do better for themselves, their family. Empowering that community to buy real estate, to invest in real estate, and take not necessarily advantage, but come along with that rising tide and better their life. And that's how we take the poor, which is a growing faction in our society. We need to help uplift them so they can take part in all this great on positive change.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
This class that you have, don't you have these classes?
Yes.
How can those classes be used to empower the community to be knowledgeable how they can relate to gentrification and neighborhood change as an investor?
Well, my goal for RE Investor Professor is to empower people who are in the communities that I grew up in, like Allentown, like Mount Oliver, like Larmer, like the Hill District, in these communities, to empower them and educate them so they can take advantage of these situations. They are in the community. One of my strengths as an investor is I always invested in the same blocks that I grew up on. So I knew everyone and I was able to take advantage of that. And the people in these communities have so much more power than they even realize. But what they need are these basic resources that the education system doesn't teach them about: financial literacy, how banks actually work when you're lending money, how business works, how to buy these houses, how to get funding, and really you don't have to have a lot of money to buy these houses. So my programs are all set up to teach real people real stuff. I don't give them fake, I don't give them promotional crap. I just want to give them real content, and if they want to use it, they can take it out there and buy a house. And we're going to do empowerment through real estate coming up on the 28th of this month, July. We're going to be doing a course, and it's a charity course. All money and proceeds are going to go to the Beltsuver Bears, now known as the Southside Bears. All proceeds from that course go to that cause, which is a bunch of little kids who really needs everyone's help. So donate either way. whether you're coming to the class or not. But if you're coming to the class, we're going to be teaching the basics of real estate investment, how to buy that first house and make a big change in your life, the real way you do it, and how to take advantage of it.
That sounds like solution oriented right there, bro.
That's how we do it.
My man.
Action. We
That's
don't just sit here and drink coffee. We go out there and take action.
Take action. How about that? To combat gentrification.
Good.